freaking out. We'll see what happens here. There we go. It says it's recording, so we'll figure that out. But thank you again for being here, you guys. So just so you, in case you lose the slides, by the way, Miss Taylor, appreciate it. She keeps posting it up there, but also it'll be on the top of your screen or on top of the slides too, that you can see and write that bit.ly there. And again, my name is Brian Tumminelli. I'm the ed tech at Everett Alvarez High School. Also teach English. I've put my email and my extension up there for you in case you want to have more questions, share anything cool. I would love to hear it because again, this is like something I'm super fascinated by as well and want to learn more. So the way that I want to kind of run this session, again, we're going to talk about ChatGPT more. I'm going to give you an opportunity to actually experience it yourself and hopping into ChatGPT. We're going to talk strategies to deal with it in our classroom, talk about how we can benefit in our classroom, and then during our sandbox time, I'm going to offer up a couple challenges for you on how you could possibly utilize it in your classroom as well. Some ways you can brainstorm and think about that. So that's what we're going to be talking about during the next 40 minutes. So let's talk. Number one, AI taking over the classroom. And yes, your students are already using it. While I think we've caught this early, I don't believe that students are oblivious to this technology. I believe that they know what's going on. They've heard about it and possibly have been using this. And so we need to talk about it. So I'm going to actually ask you guys, well, before I get into that. So ChatGPT, as I mentioned, revolutionary tool that allows you to ask any question and the bot or make a statement and the bot that they have there responds. Now, some limitations I want to share that I hope some of you picked up on. I know Mr. Young did earlier was the idea that when I asked it to write an essay, it wrote the essay, but it had 0 citations. That's a big, big thing. That's something for you as teachers need to be aware of. I also want to mention that the creators of this AI technology made sure that all information that their technology was using comes pre-2022. So 2021 and previous, that is the access or information access this bot has. So for example, if you ask the bot about the death of Queen Elizabeth, for example. That was a big story, obviously, in 2022. It will not know what you're talking about. It will not respond about that at all or give the dates or anything. It won't know. And so it will not be able to talk about that. Anything pre-2021, it will. Okay, so that is a good limitation to have. But of course, that doesn't necessarily help my essay on the book Things Fall Apart that I had my students write, because obviously written pre-2022. So that's still in play here. So anything pre-January 2022, show me yes. So I did also want to mention, if you have a question, feel free to put in the chat. I'll be monitoring it and answering. And if there's something huge, just let me know, flag me down. But here's what I'd like you guys to do. I would like for you guys to see how ChatGPT works yourself. A lot of us come from different backgrounds. I have a lot of different subjects. So I want to see how this could possibly be used. So I've left a little directions for you on how to log into ChatGPT here, if you are interested. So there's the website chat.openai.com, where you will be actually clicking in there and you could actually sign up to, like I did, to get into ChatGPT. You could sign up using a Google account or just whatever email address you use. If you do use Google account, it will ask you for a phone number to verify your identity. If you are not comfortable on any of this stuff, by the way, do not feel like you have to go on there and sign up. It is free for now, I will say. It is free for now. I just read an article a couple days ago, actually, that said for each question that is asked to the AI, it is costs between 1 cent and 4 cents. So I don't know how that monetary value I don't know how that works, you guys. But it is free for now, but that tells me that down the road, this could be a paid for platform that you have to pay to have access to. So that's another hopeful benefit. Yes, Stephen, yes, I love that one too. So ChatGPT needs to verify we are human so we can interact with the robot. So go ahead and I'm gonna give you guys some time to sign up, and then I'm gonna give you all about once everyone's set up. So I'm gonna give a couple minutes. I want to give you about 5 minutes to explore it a little further. I want to give you 5 minutes to ask it a question, look at how it can be used, explore a little bit, and then we'll kind of share out any interesting tidbits that you have. All right. So let's say about another like 2 minutes to sign in, and then I'll start the timer here. If any of you are having trouble logging in to ChatGPT, let me know in the chat or unmute yourself right now and I can help you through.
It's asking for a phone number. Do you have to provide a phone number?
Process. It doesn't take too long. But.
I'm sorry, Brian. It's asking for a phone number. We have to put in our phone number?
Sonia, am I the older? I did not hear Sonia. Is everyone else hearing Sonia? Because I cannot hear Sonia.
I can address that.
Okay.
Hold on one sec, guys. I know.
So this is two-step verification, the phone number thing. It's not recording your phone number for any reason except to give you a code so you can sign in and verify your ID. It's kind of a thing that all technology is starting to do that, emails and other accounts that you have. So
and then I'll start getting all these text messages.
Yeah,
no, you won't.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It is technically more security. I noticed Google is doing that with my personal account, two-step. If I want to log into my personal email, it's annoying. So
we're all being tracked anyway.
Okay. It's all for safety and all that stuff, I guess. So, all right, you guys. Now that I can hear all of you, sorry about that. I realized I had muted this tab because I logged in earlier when we were still in the other thing. I'm going to start the timer. Give you about 5 minutes to explore, ask it questions, look in a little bit further, explore around, and then I'll check back with you in about 5 minutes. So timer starts now. I tried to stop it before that annoying siren went off, so I apologize. So I'm seeing some of your comments that are coming through here. Obviously, yes, shocking, crazy, all that stuff. Some good ideas already be generated. So if anyone wants to either unmute or share a little bit more in the chat, what did you discover? I see some things about talking about some of the issues may occasionally produce harmful instructions or biased content. That's true. They acknowledge that it's limited in its knowledge pre-2021 and may occasionally generate incorrect information. I just learned, for example, I was going through the FAQ that this technology is not connected to the internet at all. So they have used the internet to help generate its capability, but it's not connected to the internet, which is interesting. So there's some things on that. And yeah, you guys, some people are noticing some things that it does here, which is great. Translations possible with that. Yeah, personal experience does not really focus. And in fact, I've even tried to ask it an opinion question. What does it think about this? And it won't explain, it won't share anything. It says, I can't do it. So there are some of those limitations. I love Daniel's statement on talking about how you can translate material to Spanish only speaking students. That is a great idea. So a lot of you kind of noticing, yeah, yes, Marilyn, I agree. You're noticing a lot of some of the limitations too, which is good to know. But I think overall we can agree that this is still a very, very, very powerful tool. What are your impressions on how it could be used in your classroom? What is your worries? What is your impressions on what you could do with this? I see some good stuff on there, but what are some more of your worries about this technology?
A concern, actually, in my class, students write essays, and I know there's I previewed your slides a little bit. There's a little conversation about, if a student turns in work that's not what they normally turn in. I mean, in an extreme case, yes, but then when students improve in their writing and I'm suspicious, do I end up accidentally suspecting a kid because this technology exists when they in fact did write an essay and have improved their writing skills?
Yeah.
So does that create negative relationships in the classroom?
Very true. Good. No, that's good.
I have a question. Sorry. That's great. Yeah. Piggybacking off that, why do only certain sites have turnitin.com? Right. I mean, that would be one to, if you did so, for example, as you were saying, if you had a student, you're saying, maybe their writing has improved, and I don't want to automatically suspect that, oh, you must be using this AI. If we had that, then that sort of.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, and this is part of my research, Stephanie, I did when I was looking into this. One, yes, I would love Turnitin at all sites. I think the cost is prohibitive for a lot of people to agree to it, but I want it. Two, I did read, though I've never tried it, that this has been able to bypass or get through those plagiarism checkers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that it may not be, like Turnitin may not be effective again. That's what I've read. I haven't tried it out or tested it myself. I don't have Turnitin, so I can't, but that's just one of the things, just sharing that what I've had built in. So yeah, it's a good point to bring up though, because again, yeah, Steven, I think your relationship building, the idea of how do we know for sure is definitely going to be a big deal. Is going to be a big deal. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for that. That is something, again, we brainstorm and talk about as educators, and go on with that. So let me, I appreciate you guys' responses. So let's talk, as we continue talking about that, the strategies to deal with ChatGPT. I'm going to focus on the negative here, and why our worries, because that's going to be kind of a big thing, especially with if other educators discover this and who are not as tech savvy, they're going to freak out by this. It's true. Okay. They're going to see that this is something that is not good and it could be dangerous, which could be for a classroom. It could be something that diminishes our integrity here. So I want to note some things before we have that discussion on strategies, ideas, things that we could do to protect our classes. We're always, as teachers, I think we know this, many of us have been teaching for a long time, we always end up being behind the curve when it comes to cheating and academic dishonesty. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we catch students after they've done the cheating, or if we catch them at all. And that's usually just how it is. There's really any strategies or ideas we discuss here are not foolproof. They're not going to stop cheating. We're not going to have the silver bullet, if you will, to stop this or protect against this. So that is why we're having that discussion. But I wanted to make note of that because not any system there's no system that's going to be perfect. Stephen brought that up with the idea of relationships in the class. It's not going to be easy. But some of our solutions we generate, some that I'm going to share right now, should at least help, okay? We're not going to be perfect. We're always going to be chasing, but at least could help. And I like what Sharmisa said in the chat. That's why we're trying to get ahead and own it. So yeah, that's the big thing. We want to get ahead and own it. We don't want it to be something secretive students are using in a lot of ways. We know it, what's here, and hopefully we can spin it in a good way. So let's talk about how we could possibly combat. This is some of my ideas and things I found online. Because if you search ChatGPT and education on Google, there's dozens and dozens of articles because not only are you freaking out, a lot of teachers are freaking out. So that is something that, so I found a couple strategies that people have been talking about. So for example, one of the things that we talk about is keep it in the classroom. One of the things that I thought of immediately when I saw this was, oh no, having students write essays at home is kind of going to be difficult now. And so one of the things I'm like, okay, maybe, just maybe I'm going to have to start having more essays or responses written within the classroom and have the students write within the classroom. Again, is that foolproof? No, of course not. Could students, for example, go and generate a response on ChatGPT at home, bring that response to class virtually, they copy paste it on Google Doc, and then there you go and have it there and type it up in class or something like that or whatever? Of course, they could do any of that. It's not foolproof, but at least it's one way you can monitor, like with GoGuardian, what are they doing? What are they looking at? Now it is disabled at school, so that's a benefit. ChatGPT is. So if you have a short response for a student to look at and they try to log in, they could log in on their phone, of course. But if they try to log in on their Chromebook, they won't be able to access it, okay? Another one, this is kind of what Stephen alluded to, is to get to know your students. And again, Stephen showed it's not foolproof, but it's something. But if a student turns in work that seems out of character for them, dig deeper into it. And I'm not saying accuse them of plagiarism, but we all know students, and if we know our students well, and we know how they write or what they produce, we can at least get a little red flag in our minds going, okay, I got to keep an eye on this because this is not the norm for them. So that is something we need to consider and think about as well. Obviously, Google Docs has a couple add-ons that are plagiarism checkers. There are some add-ons as well that we can look into a little bit further that show if something was copied and pasted over immediately from one document or one website article to another. So obviously as well, you could always use the version history as well. I'm not the biggest fan of version history because I'm not perfect on it myself, but it can work to see if there's big chunks do that. And Elizabeth, I tried to look up some add-ons. I'm doing more research because I'd love to get the add-on just automatically added. There's some add-ons that I found that weren't basically that the admin or the IT would not let us add. It says it had to be added by the administrator of our district. So I'm not going to share those add-ons yet because I can't get them on to show them to you in the first place. I know they exist though, so once we can get those up, we can share. Version history though, is probably going to be the best bet. Another one idea is partner writing. This is one that was suggested. That way it's more voices within the writing cycle, so it's not just from ChatGPT. Again, tough on that as well. And then another one, old school, some teachers I know who I shared this at Alvarez were like, I'm going straight to paper and pen. That could work. It's not, there's flaws on that too, obviously, like their handwriting is terrible, but it's a true way to make sure that there is, way that they don't cheat their handwriting, their responses. So again, and as well, like with the limitations we talked about with those limitations, like if you get a paper that has not any sources or no citations, that could be a red flag easily. Like this one does not have sources, great information, doesn't have sources, doesn't have page numbers, for example. Okay, I got to look into this. Hey, sorry, you got to redo this. But again, like I said, they're not foolproof, guys. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but this is kind of just our reality at this point. But there are some strategies available. I've seen some good strategies, other things to protect us against plagiarism. I'm going to ask you to help me out here on this link. I don't have a bit.ly for it, but if you have the slides open, you can click on that ChatGPT Jamboard, and I'm going to open it myself to show you what I'm looking at. This right here, very simple, is, and I believe I have everyone can, let me make sure that my access is available that everyone can, nope, let me change it. So try to refresh. If you can't edit, try to refresh. I just changed that, sorry. But this is a little Jamboard I created to help us talk about how, or share strategies and ideas. So I've given a couple. Let me refresh here because it's not loading for me, or I can't change. But I would like for us to go to slide number 2 on the Jamboard. And if you can add a sticky note and add any more strategies that you could think of, how we could maintain academic integrity in our class. You can write out a little something and put it there. That'd be fantastic. Again, I'm hoping to utilize this Jamboard as a resource that I could share out with other teachers as well. So if there's any other ideas beyond what I wrote or an extension for what I wrote, I'd appreciate if you guys can throw a little sticky note onto Jamboard number 2 on there. So I'm going to give you guys, just looking at time, I want to respect everyone's time here. So I'm just give you a few minutes, and this is something you can come back to later. But I'll give you guys like 1 or 2 minutes just based on time to go ahead and type something up. If you have an idea, we'd appreciate it, and put it up there. So 10:30, I'm going to continue on with the presentation, so that way we can get out at 10:45 for our break. Sharmisa, I love it. Actually, I'll share something with you in a little bit later about asking ChatGPT, stuff like that. They do respond, by the way, which is funny. Some of the things you guys are writing really good. One of them, I love the outline idea. Have them have an outline before they write, so that way you can check outline versus what their essay is. That's just a good tool to have as well. Citing sources is obvious. Group work, yeah. I'm seeing some good stuff here. I love that idea of celebrating academic honesty in class, rough drafts, information source. Thank you guys. These are all fantastic ideas and ways that we could help each other out or use in our classroom. So if you have any more, throw them in there. I appreciate it. I'm going to move back to our slides just so we can go on to the other stuff and some other fun stuff. So I think I'm sharing the, let me just double check here. Good, I'm back on the slides, excellent. Okay, So I'm going to move on to, oh, not the timer because we're done with that. Leveraging this in our classes. Okay, this is the big one. What can we benefit and how can our students benefit from this in our classes? So this is a big one. So obviously we always talk about bad. What are we fearful of technology? Always ways to abuse technology, so on and so forth. But technology is here. And if we embrace it, we can enhance learning. It is, I know I'm an ed tech, and so I'm going to share the praises of technology in the classroom. That's my job. But I also do love technology and try to use it as much as I can when I find a good tool. And if we are smart about this and develop good strategies, this could be a valuable tool in our classes. So I have this huge thing right here about some ideas. So I'm going to read a little bit of that. So here's a few ways teachers could use ChatGPT in their classrooms. ChatGPT could generate writing prompts. Teachers could use it to generate creative writing prompts for students to respond to. ChatGPT has model writing style. You could show different writing styles to students as that, like persuasive writing or descriptive writing. ChatGPT could be used for writing feedback. You can actually copy and paste written work into ChatGPT, ask it to evaluate it, good and bad, and it actually generates a response. And you can use it for vocabulary building. Now, I want to note something. All of this, everything I wrote, I'll come back to this in a sec, but one thing I wrote, that was all written by ChatGPT, by the way. I asked that question, how could ChatGPT enhance student writing? And that is all the responses they generated for me. So yes, I know. Thank you, Stephen. So that is not something I wrote, but it is something that ChatGPT wrote for me. But it is true in a lot of stuff that they said. I actually tested some of that stuff myself. So some other ideas that you could use for ChatGPT, again, mentor texts. This seemed to be the big one for English teachers that I've found online. If you put an essay prompt into there, you get a good response that does not have citations, but shows the structure of a good solid essay. So for example, I could have used what it wrote for the novel that I had my students write an essay about last semester. I could use that as a mentor text to show them how to write a literary analysis in class. Here's a strong thesis. Here's how you should start your essay. Here's the body paragraphs. Some ideas with the mentor text is you give students those essays and have them break it down into an outline. So we call it a reverse outline, so they can see the structure of a good essay or a decent essay. Okay, so that's some ways that we could utilize that in our class. Checking for understanding is a big one. So students, you can have them, if they write out their equation on a piece of paper, they're struggling, students could utilize this to see where they're struggling. You notice when I put in those equations, it gave us step-by-step instructions on how to solve those equations. Maybe have students check some of their work from homework or anything if this is a math class, okay? And improving writing skills is key. Students can insert writing and have ChatGPT improve the quality of the writing. So let me actually show you that one. I think I have that still saved. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT. One of the things just want to show you, noticing here on the left, you'll actually see that a lot of the conversations that were put in are actually can be saved. Oh, I think it may have refreshed on me. So let me go back here and type in a question. But you'll see on the left, some of those have saved. I don't know why they're not saved now, so I got to figure that one out, what happened there. But if I type in a writing response, so if I say evaluate the following written response, these are important. These are important to our world. They help pollinate, if I can spell, pollinate plants and keep our ecosystems alive. Bees are valuable and need to be saved. You could actually have them, maybe I'm gonna have to refresh and go back because it's not working, but you guys could try that. Bummer. It would have been cool if that worked. Oh, there we go. Maybe it's working now. Something happened here, but you'll see here. So here's the enhanced student learning one I wrote. I'm looking for the ones here. But I guess I had, but you could, if I don't want to waste time here, but if you guys look through and you can write something and have it evaluate it, it does work. You'll see here, that's the one I had of when I asked it. Oh, here it is. So I did write this: improve the writing of the following paragraph to make it high school level writing. Bees are important for society. Without bees, the ecosystem of our world will collapse. Bees play an important role in helping flowers grow and other plants grow. Bees must be saved. This is what it responded with. It rewrote it in a high school level way. Bees are crucial for the health and stability of our society and our ecosystem. They're vital for the pollination of flowers and other plants, and their absence could lead to the collapse of the natural world as we know it. It is imperative that we work to protect and preserve these vital insects. Notice it helped with vocabulary. It utilized a higher level writing skills here. So that is a cool, interesting way our students can maybe improve their writing. I also wrote this: offer feedback on the following piece and evaluate it on a high school level. So I wrote feedback and evaluate it. And I wrote that same thing. It says, overall, this writing piece presents a clear and concise argument about the importance of bees in our society and ecosystem. The idea is that bees are necessary for pollination and other plants is conveyed, and the conclusion that they must be saved is emphasized. To improve on a high school level, some potential suggestions might be including expanding on specific ways in which bees contribute to the ecosystem, providing examples or evidence to support their claim that their absence could lead to collapse, so on and so forth. So for writing, I hope you can see that this could be a really powerful tool for our students to improve our writing. Now, again, how do we make sure they don't copy and paste? That's another issue, but there are ways, we can brainstorm more ways on that, but that is something to think about. Maybe it's as an evaluation tool. What can we do to make this writing better and stronger? Okay, so I'm gonna head back to the slides here, but any questions on this portion of what I've been talking about, kind of showing here? Any questions at all? Yeah, Shermies, that's a great one. We'll actually save that, because what I'd like you to do is go back to that Jamboard and go to slide number 3 for me. And this is where we had slide 2, which was all about how we can protect academic honesty. I just shared very little, but some interesting ways that you can utilize it in your classroom to leverage. If you have an idea, I'd love for you guys to share that as well. If you could put a sticky note, I'd appreciate it. We got a few minutes here, and thankfully we're almost wrapping it up. Jennifer, it does not. No. You can ask the same question multiple times and it will give you a different response. It will talk, maybe if, for example, essay prompts, it will give you the same kind of information, but when I've done it, it's written sometimes differently, and different word usage, structure of sentences, things like that has changed. Yes, Sharmi said it does have a regenerate button, so it will do that. Sentence stems that generated. Yeah, let me go back and I'll show that for you, Marilyn. So I just wrote here, offer feedback on the following writing piece and evaluate it on a high school level. That's kind of what I wrote, and it worked. I'm sure you can write a different stem to before and with the similar idea, and it will do the same thing. So what I could do, and let's try this out just for fun. Offer positive and negative feedback on the following writing piece. Let's see what it says. So it actually bullet points it and lists it out. So some people are asking about the regenerate the response here. Let me do one here for you. Like we could regenerate that response. Let's see what it says here. Oh, it deleted it, but it kind of gives the same ideas. I'm not sure it's 100% the same. I can find another one here. So this is the essay one that I had my students write about, by the way. I had them write this. This is their essay for their final exam last semester. Again, you'd hit that regenerate response. So I'm going to regenerate this response. I'm going to kind of take a look here and see how different it is. Okay, so it's a little bit different from there. Also, on this prompt too, I was able to say what grade level I wanted it to write at. So I said in there, I said write it at a 9th grade reading level or a writing level. So that's what they did. Okay, you guys. Yeah, just different enough. I think it's a good way to put it, Sharmisa. No, it's all good. All right, so I'm going to go back to the slides here. Let me take a look. Let's share this. So a lot of you are talking about researching vocabulary, examples, ask questions 3 times, check for a level of understanding, all this stuff. Ideas for topics is a great one. Teachers, no joke. Let me show you one more thing just for fun, but I want to respect your time if I do a new chat here. Write a lesson, high school or 9th grade lesson plan on the writing style of Chibe in Things Fall Apart, with the objective of students would be able to write a short response. And kind of funny, by the way, you could actually get a lesson plan written. Yeah, sub-plans. Here's your backup, by the way. Sub-plans, you can do this. It's kind of funny. They're not, let me put it this way, they're not the best lesson plans at all. But you could maybe get some ideas on it, but they are not the best. But anyway, I just want to show that for fun. Last thing I want to share before we go to break, you guys, just because we've got 15 minutes here. I just want to encourage you guys, thanks for being here for this deep dive. I really hope you guys can embrace this technology to benefit our classroom and to benefit our students. Again, it is scary, it is shocking, it is eye-opening, but it's here and it's real, regardless of or not if it stays free or ends up being paid. This is something that we need to embrace and understand and be ready, because it's coming and it's going to be in our classrooms if it isn't already. So, oh, Steven, yes, post, please.
Sorry, I got cut off at the end there, but there's some good stuff in here.
And thankfully our chat is saved, so maybe I could throw that in there into our sticky notes and all that stuff too. While Steven posts that up, guys, we have a break of not 15 minutes, but till 11, where we're going to do the sandbox portion of this with Deep Dive. I'm going to offer you guys a couple challenges to utilize and work on. when we get back. So go ahead and take a break, and we'll see you back here at 11 o'clock. Yes, Sonia, that is my understanding from talking to Jen. They come back. You just come right back here. I'm going to leave it open. So.
Hey, Brian, this is Jackie. Can I ask you another
Yeah.
question? Well, another. I didn't ask one. So I used to teach high school Gonzales, Hardin, and now I teach adults. I teach ESL, and the whole AI piece is fascinating. So I'm thinking of ways that I can use this, and I asked the basic question: how can someone improve their English as a ESL student, and what are some common errors Spanish speakers would encounter learning English? And it gave some very specific information, and that's all fine and dandy. But I think I'm not seeing even the greater potential for me to access things. I heard people mention translations. One can make requests for translations, and like I'm just picking people's minds here.
Yeah.
What am I missing here? Practical things, not just grammar translation.
Yeah, and that's, I wish I had the best response or a really strong response for you, because this is such new technology.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discussion on what we can do with this. Now, like I said, I went through and started generating ideas, found stuff online, stuff like that. As we go, there's going to be more that come up. I don't have a be all end all for you. Practically, you know, what I come from high school mind, so not adults. But when I see things like I could do mentor text or have students evaluate text, and I don't have to go and like do a huge amount of research to find essays for them to look at, that's huge. That saves me time. As a teacher, I love that, you know, and I will utilize that for sure. For the benefit of students, again, like depending on how much you trust students, it's I think a great tool to improve writing skills and things like that. But for practical like stuff, I don't have a good answer. I know Steven's unmuted. Do you have something to say?
Oh, sorry. No, I forgot I was on mute.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
it's all right. I just want to make sure.
I
So
think it's just a matter of exploring.
yeah.
Going there and I feel like Star Trek, go places you've not gone before.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. This is interesting. How did you come upon this? So why did you decide to present on this?
Oh, that's a great question. So I came upon this just randomly. I think searching the web at home, found this article talking about how this new chat AI tool is going to revolutionize journalism. I used to be a journalist before I became a teacher. So that perked my interest up a little bit, and I looked into it, and it was explaining how, hey, ChatGPT actually can write articles, and they're not the greatest articles, but they could revolutionize journalism and all this stuff. And so I logged in for fun and explored it, and then I found another article talking about there's an article that says, will this kill the essay? And I went, uh-oh. Interesting. So when I was logged in, I just put in my prompt, saw what was written, and went, oh no, this is crazy, and went from there. So again, that's when I alerted everybody that I knew, like all the other ed techs, and then doing more thinking about it. I was really interested in, you know, sharing this information out with more teachers, but also like, what are the positive ways we can spin it? Because a lot of stuff online now is about positive, how we can spin that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what piqued my interest. I thought this would be something that teachers would want to know and possibly utilize if they're brave enough, but at least know so they could like be aware that this is around.
Yep. Thank you so much. I
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
You're
Wow.
welcome.
It's just the future is here.
It is. It's crazy. So
You know, there's an interesting conversation going on in the chat because it makes me think that we're targeting a very specific student when we talk about AI generated work. They have to be smart and tech savvy enough to know that they can do something like this. And they have to put in the work of actually going, getting that prompt, typing it in, finding a way to hide it. You're talking about a fairly intelligent, quote unquote, lazy student. So I feel like there's something in that, knowing the profile kind of the type of student who would do something like this. Maybe there's some really important intelligence there that we can kind of hack into as teachers to leverage that student to learn more, to build more, to actually create something good from their interest in technology.
That's a good point. I think so too. You're just reminding me of a student I had my first year at Alvarez who showed his parents his grades on his phone, but what he didn't say was it was a screenshot that he used Photoshop to change his grades. And to show his parents his grades on his phone was Photoshopped. And when they were called into an SST, it wasn't good. So parents were shocked that. So yeah, exactly. The work that went into it was way more than just, you should have just done the work and got a better grade. But it was a fascinating view. However, I do know, I know that I will push back on one thing. I think our students, being as tech savvy as they are, being on social media a lot, being online and virtually have their phones like fastened to their grip, I think you give them, if they discovered this tool, I don't think it will take long for them to figure out what words to say and what things to put in to figure that out. And that's what kind of makes me concerned a little bit just about this technology is I feel like once one student knows and it's shared everywhere. You know, I don't have TikTok, but I'm assuming on TikTok, this is already spreading that, you know, people are sharing tips and things like that. I hope that kids are too lazy, but when it comes to grades and being able to not be yelled at by their parents, that may be a little enticing. I know I was one of those lazy students in high school, but if I had this technology, I would be very excited. So yeah. Oh, teacher TikTok. There you go. See, I know. So, go ahead.
Students say to me that I'm going to use this to write my essay. And I told them for their final, I said, you shouldn't. I said, that's dishonest.
Yeah.
I said, I'd be very disappointed in you, so-and-so. And he's like, okay, I'm not.
They get excited. They're like, let's go. I love it. But again, I was thinking, I have students who I teach English who struggle with essays, just really, really struggle. And I asked, you know, I didn't do this, but I wonder if I had them, like I said, had them generate a mentor text and look at how it's written and use that as a model for some of my struggling students, maybe copy it onto a doc and take out some words and have them use it as the skeleton. That could also be helpful, you know. But again, I think a lot of my ideas come from the teacher hands. So if there's any ideas where students are leading the charge, that's great. But it seems like a lot of our ideas are come from the teacher level, though. Yes, Marilyn, yeah.
I did see that on the one that I did, you know, you can say, oh, you know, the thumbs up, thumbs down.
Oh, yeah.
So then obviously, well, do you do that first and then hit regenerate? It'd be interesting to see then to say, if I don't do either thumbs up, thumbs down, and then hit regenerate and then, you know, do the same thing, and does it make the difference?
Yeah.
With the thumbs up, thumbs down? Because the prompt that I used, or the question I asked, I said, why is Claudette Colvin not represented, excuse me for my dog, in the way that Rosa Parks is, right? She was 9 months before Rosa Parks, and many people don't know her at all, right? And what they returned, I'm like, it was okay, but not good. It's like, you know, oh, you just said that, oh, she was a teenager. It's like, okay, well, let's that is important, and she was part of the civil rights movement as well as Rosa Parks. But what about she was pregnant as a, you know, and it's like, oh, well, then that takes a different aspect on it as well. But anyway.
it definitely gave me a little encouragement knowing that these things that it's generating is not amazing. It's not like, we're not talking college thesis type stuff. We're not talking about, you know, high quality. But again, I think that also makes it nervous because if we saw super high quality from students, it'd be like, okay, obvious. But you know, but you know, if you can write, hey, tell me, like if a student, and this goes back to what type of student would do this, but if a student wrote, hey, write this at a 6th grade level because I know that's where I'm at, that may be a little difficult for us to really catch at times, you know. I don't want to mention Marilyn had something good. Let's see, what would you ask? That 8th grade level with a real prompt received 4 paragraphs and then asked for a 7-paragraph essay at an 8th grade level, and it responded. That did not repeat in those 7 paragraphs. That's fascinating. You could also put a word count. You could say in 2,000 words, write me a 4-paragraph essay on this topic, and it will, with all your parameters in place. So that's another thing too. That is possible. So awesome. So Sonia, no, we're here for the sandbox. We're just having a conversation. I think that's what they wanted to do on their break, which is great. So we start at 3 minutes. So.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna actually take a break. I'm gonna head over using.
No, please go. It's okay. I'm
right.
sorry. And I've kept guys keeping the recording going just because we were having that conversation. If people, you know, heard some of these ideas and stuff, I thought it'd be important to keep it on there. But I am going to stop the recording here and just once we start the sandbox, because I don't think we need that time right now. So
now here's something that's interesting. So just talking about the prompt that I did, and I went and I hit regenerate, and so I'm wondering, oh, are you listening to me? Because then what it stated after is all of a sudden, Claudette Colvin is a civil rights activist who, at the age of 15, was arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a bus to a white passenger in Montgomery, Alabama, 9 months before Rosa Parks' more famous refusal. Colvin case was not chosen as the focus of the Montgomery bus boycott. However, because she was pregnant at the time, and civil rights leaders felt that she should not be an effective spokeswoman for their cause. And then there's other sentences. And I'm like, oh.
There.
You know,
turn
like,
your microphone off, right?
right? I'm like, oh, did you hear me?
That's like whenever you're talking about something in front of your family and then you see ads for it on your social media accounts, is exactly what, oh gosh. This stuff, I swear. I love technology, but sometimes it's a little spooky too. So always around. All right, let's see here. I'm going to stop our recording now.